Hello everybody, and today I wanted to bring you a Fuso replay. Apologies if I still sound a little bit sick. I just wanted to get this replay out to you guys because it is from before the last major patch, so it is probably about a week old at this point. And back when I actually took this replay, my Fuso was almost stock. I think it had 3 or 4 modifications on it, and it didn't quite have the tier 3 modifications unlocked for researching yet. I believe I finished that this game actually, but I wanted to show that when you're playing a battleship in War Thunder, you don't always have to bum rush in. You don't have to push straight for the cap and get your battleship absolutely decimated by enemy fire. I'm not advocating for you sitting in the back. The strategy of map control only works on certain maps where you can actually contest 2 points at once, and you're going to see it with this map especially because both teams kind of spawn on either side of C, north and south I should say, and you don't see each other at the beginning, but a lot of times you'll get a big player push towards C, and when players have to because they're losing, they'll push for B. A point kind of gets ignored at these higher tiers short of PT boats and maybe the AI, but you don't always have to just bum rush for the caps. There are battleships that are designed for this, like Scharnhorst, Alaska, stuff like that with torpedoes and a lot of armor up front to actually brawl stuff. The Fuso, in my opinion, it's kind of a sailing ammo dump because you don't have to be super accurate to hit the ammunition on this because of the amount of guns that are on it. Pros and cons, right? You have a lot of guns to deal a lot of damage to the enemy team, but at the same time, if the battleship focuses you down and gets a lucky hit, you're done for. They don't even really have to aim for your forward or aft batteries. You're just going to be done. Now, as you can see, no other enemy players are on the screen at the moment, so I took some pot shots at these bot destroyers that are across the map. The first one, you could see my first salvo. I used the hit that I registered on it to adjust my second shot and ended up getting pretty lucky. I hit the magazine of that destroyer and removed it from the match. Well, of course it's going to respawn. It's War Thunder, you have 3 respawns per match. So I took that destroyer out of the match. It will probably respawn a different ship. And now using the lead that I got from the previous destroyer, I'm now working on the second one that spawned over there. Once again, it's just a bot put in by War Thunder to fill out the matches. They're not on par ships with the players, and they're also not much of a threat. I'm mainly doing it to keep it from capturing the point. You can also see I'm eyeballing, a torpedo boat that's way over across the map, in case he decides to start working his way this way and I need to start dodging torpedoes. There's another good salvo on the destroyer, and of course I'm firing armor piercing at it, so while they are penetrating, a lot of them are just going straight through and not really exploding, but I'm not overly worried as, like I said, it's just a bot. My main goal is to prevent it from getting to the cap and giving the enemy team a cap point very early on in the game, especially one that I'm going to be watching over for the rest of the game. So hopefully this next salvo gets them. My secondaries are definitely landing some decent hits. And no, I missed. Nice. So yeah, while I do pretty well with the compensation for aim, every once in a while I do screw one up like that, and the friendly player pushing me a little bit to swing my aft end around didn't quite help with my accuracy there. Not that I'm complaining, I am still basically in spawn, and he probably didn't have enough room to turn because I was in the way. So I am moving my ship just a little bit, partially because of that enemy torpedo boat that is still roaming around, and secondly to get out of the way of the friendly players that are still spawning into the match. That is a bot light cruiser across the map, so adjust the aim a little bit, empty the batteries, and start looking around to see what else might be a threat. The enemy players should be starting to show up around C soon enough. Alright, there's another lucky shot, straight to the ammo on that one. But the enemy players should start showing up around C here pretty soon. You can see all the bots are kind of starting to flood in. So my goal here is to decimate these bots. At the very least, slow them down so they can't get to the cap point. I really don't want them taking it, because then my team either has to push in to take that cap point and ignore Bravo, or my team can give up on it and hope that we take A and B. So my interest here is to sit back, maybe attract a bit of fire if possible, but I want to stay alive as long as possible to keep the enemy team at least from taking C. It'd be nice if my team would take it, but with the amount of ships that are over there, I don't think that's going to happen. So there goes another bot, but right behind that bot is a player. I believe he's in an Admiral Hipper? That's what it looks like way over there. Either way, that is the biggest threat on that side of the match right now. So I'm going to take a shot at that. Well, I was. Except I saw this bot was getting somewhat close to the cap and making a beeline straight for it. So even though I had dialed in my aim assist, well, that's the best way to say it really. I realize it's just a lead indicator, but it is aim assist. Even though I had lined it up on the Hipper, I quickly switched it over, lined back up on the AI that was approaching the cap, and let loose a salvo. It does look like he got taken down before my salvo got there, but that's probably a good thing because now I have to focus on this battleship over here. They are probably the biggest threat in front of me right now, as it is another battleship. It has the guns to actually penetrate my armor, and it is another Fuso class. I believe it's the premium Yamashiro, but either way, it's a Fuso, it's got the same guns, and it's approaching Bravo. I want to protect that and help my teammates, so that ship needs to go. It's a threat, and it might cap. So let's see what we get for hits here, and yeah, right to the magazine. I'm getting pretty lucky with those this round. That doesn't always happen, and a lot of times you'll just get a straight pass through with a little bit of magazine damage, but not enough to actually light it off like that. But it's also a good demonstration of, hey, the Fuso's a wandering tinder keg, and even if you don't perfectly line up a shot on it, if they're showing you their side armor in a Fuso without angling at all, it's a straight shot to the magazines. And you can actually do that on a lot of ships that have multiple unconventional layouts, I should say. Not the A, B, X, Y turret scheme that we're used to seeing in most battleships later on in the eras, I guess you could say. Either way, I'm lining up on another enemy AI cruiser here. He's gotten pretty close to the cap, and I'm just going to let loose everything on him to, at the very least, dissuade the AI from actually taking the cap, and or hopefully sink him to remove that threat of them capturing it. And it looks like he's going to be going down here pretty soon. He's at 11%. If you get him below 7, all the ships will just sink. Looks like my secondaries took care of that though and sunk him anyway. So I was backing up there, but I'm starting to see enemy battleships poke around the corner of the island there. And while I do want to fight them, I don't want to get in direct brawl with them just yet. And I'm not entirely sure what he's focused on. He's in an odd position to fight C-Cap, and he's in a weird position to do anything about Bravo, so I'm just going to give it a testing lob over the island, and I'm actually going to accelerate, because if he wants to come after me, it's going to take him longer to get his guns around that island and possibly allow me a couple more shots over it, because I'm accelerating away from where he has to go to get his guns on me. There's another AI cruiser that's coming around as well, and I'm hoping to get a shot into that before it can just beeline to the cap. It looks like there's another ship coming alongside of it. I'm not entirely sure if that's an AI or not. If I actually moved my aim over to it, it would tell me, but this one's pretty out in the open right now, so I'll take my shot on that. As you can see, another enemy battleship just popped up over by Bravo, but at this point my entire friendly team has moved over to Bravo and has decapped A. So we have the sole point of capture right now, and all my teammates are focused on that enemy battleship, which lets me focus on making sure C does not get captured by the enemy team and continues to extend. Well, I can't say it's our lead yet because they're still leading in points, but I can say that we're going to extend our points drain on their team. So as you can see, there's 2 enemy AI cruisers, that battleship's on the move, and there's a enemy player cruiser over towards C that I all need to worry about. I'm kinda on the tail end of our fleet, so it's only me over here, even though it looks like the battleship's more distracted with something else. But he is the biggest threat and the closest ship, so I'm gonna line up on him first. I believe that is a top tier German battleship, which usually means I'm going to be fighting it for a while. I'm going to have to work down his HP. You can see I led a little bit ahead to try to take out his forward guns. It looks like my squad mate there from the automatic squadron is moving up to help, but it doesn't matter because I, once again, nailed him in the ammunition storage. Squad mate is still lining up to help though. There is another battleship over there, but he's a ways out, and these cruisers are awfully close to this cap, and I need to get them away from that to continue to extend our point drain on the enemy team. So this cruiser needs to be the target of my focus. Even though it is only an AI, it poses no real threat to me or the friendly cruiser, but he's got to go because he's way too close to that cap. Unluckily for me, I did not catch the magazine with that one, even though that's been a common theme for this one. But he is down to 31% of his crew, so within a couple salvos of my secondaries and maybe another main battery strike, he'll be going down without much of a problem. But I'm looking behind him and I'm seeing an enemy player in a heavy cruiser, a battleship, and I know there's another battleship towards Bravo. There's also another AI cruiser that's approaching the cap, and in my head I'm basically the only ship that's over here. The friendly cruiser up ahead of me is putting up a fight, but it is only a light cruiser. It will be going down pretty soon to those battleships' concentrated fire, and my friendly team is heavily concentrated around Bravo, which actually works in our favor right now because the enemy team can't push for it, and even if they do, they're just losing ships trying to capture it. So right now my strategy of just laying down the fire on Charlie and keeping the enemy team from capturing it is actually working out pretty well, thanks to the movement of my friendly team. If it wasn't for them, this would be a loss. If they had pushed for Charlie and nobody had gone for Bravo, chances are I would have had to move over there and actually push for the cap, which, give or take, it could have worked in the Fuso. Some people are very good at pushing in this ship. I am not yet. But thanks to the movements of my friendly team, I could pull off the strategy that I'm working here and just keep the enemy team from doing anything to C. So right now, this bot cruiser in front of me has made a U-turn. He's not going for the cap anymore. He's sinking, he's on his side. He's gonna be going down here pretty soon. You can see I'm starting to switch my fire around. There's another battleship coming in, and now I'm gonna go into brawler mode with this. I have to engage these enemy battleships and keep them from pushing together towards that point and either surrounding my team while capturing the point, or at least capturing the point to extend the game. So I'm going to line up a little bit ahead on that battleship there and hopefully at least knock out his front guns for a little bit, which will save me a bit of damage in the long run. It does look like I misaimed that though, and those shots are going to go right under superstructure and not deal a lot of damage, which does not work out well for me, as all the enemy battleships have switched their fire over to my ship now. Yeah, so it's not working out good for me yet. I should adjust my aim here pretty soon and angle my armor, what little is left of it, on that side of my ship to help deflect shots down my side rather than letting them shoot right into my turrets. So as you can see, I'm switching my fire to the next closest battleship that's off to my side a little bit so I can start angling in. and I'm just going to full on charge these guys. Granted, I'm not going to last long, but my hope is that I delay them long enough for my team to actually win the game, or at least get close enough that a couple enemy ships getting sunk will win it for us. As you can see, that looks like a Wyoming, so if I shoot center mass, that's about where some of his turrets are, and he's got the same scenario as me, albeit it's an American armor scheme. So if I actually hit him right, I would have gotten into his ammo, but instead I only got his ammo elevator to one of his turrets, which will slow down the reload, but it's not really going to help me at all, as I'm taking some very withering firepower right now, and this battleship that's in front of me has a fairly good shot lined up on me. And yeah, the fire's just coming in now. The enemy team's capturing the point, but I'm going to do my best to at least stall them and try to sink them as they capture it. Oh, actually it looks like there was an AI trying to capture it and sailed off of it and or got sunk, but I'm going to give this battleship another what for. And yeah, somebody found my ammunition as well. So sadly I do sink once I start to push in there. I didn't get very far out of spawn, but my delaying tactics were enough to actually win the game. I'm going to spawn a plane in here, and I'm going to kind of, well, I was thinking of going for a revenge kill, but there's a patrol ship that looked like it was going to capture A, and I could probably go over there quick and bomb it for the win to keep it from evening out the cap points. But it's not going to matter. We're going to win this game before I even get close to getting a bomb dropped on that enemy ship. And a lot of it's because my team's players all moved straight to Bravo. They defended it well during the game, and I delayed the enemy team from taking C long enough, even though a lot of them were just AI charging the cap, but we didn't have any players over there defending it to sink those. I defended that cap long enough that the attrition caught up to the enemy team, and even though we only had 1 point basically the entire game, my team managed to win it. So I'd like to thank my friendly team for their hard work during this match, because I really can't put this all on my own shoulders. I merely sat and spawned and shot at one cap point. But in the end, it worked out for everybody. I got a lot of points out of it, and everybody got a victory. As a tip for any new Battleship players that have gotten this far, if you're having trouble killing Des Moines or Alaskas, just look at the aim in these videos and kind of copy it. Even if you're in a very early battleship or battle cruiser, whatever your line comes with first, you can still sink these ships just by shooting in the general areas that I'm aiming for here under the front turrets, and they're gonna die eventually. You might not get them on the first salvo, but it is where the magazine is, and it will work out for you in most scenarios. These ships have very withering firepower, so getting them out of the match early helps a lot, and especially if you can do it in one salvo, it works out a lot better for you. Anyway guys, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.